Hello everyone. Today I'm with Aphra Cocoran, who is the Director of Security, Privacy and Cybersecurity at KPMG. Hello, Aphra, and welcome to Women in Identity. Of course, we have been acquainted before this interview, but for the sake of the viewers, please can you introduce yourself to our community and give some insights on how you got to where you are right now?
Thank you. I'm Aphra Cocoran. As you mentioned, I'm a director within the cybersecurity practice at KPMG. I've been within the cybersecurity space for 20 plus years here in Toronto. And I was fortunate enough to get into cybersecurity when I started my working career. I happened to start at IBM. And at that time, there were so many jobs open that we could pick whatever area we wanted to go into. And so I picked security largely because I thought it was cool.
What does inclusivity in digital identity mean to you? And why do you think that the mission that women in identity are on is so important?
So digital identity to me is synonymous with online identity. So it's the taking of personal data and making it accessible online so that people can access services or applications or whatever it is that they need to access. So by its very nature, it is important, it's foundational. So absolutely everybody is going to need to have digital identity access. And so when we talk about inclusivity, we're talking about the entire population requiring access to their digital identity. And that's why women in identity is so important, because they're sort of doing that groundwork of including diverse populations into this discussion and making sure that the benefits of digital identity are available to everybody.
And it's no secret that STEM and identity are often quite male-led. Have you faced any challenges in your career journey? And if you have, what have you learned from them?
Yep. So when I was first in security, I had to go to a meeting in Vancouver with my colleagues. And Vancouver is about 5 hours away from Toronto. I had to fly there. I was very excited. I attended the meeting. And then afterwards, my team and the client went out for lunch. And we were sitting at the table when one of the clients looked at me and pointed at me and said, "What is a woman doing in cybersecurity?" And the table went quiet. I was immediately very embarrassed and on the spot, and I couldn't think of a coherent response quickly. So I sort of flubbed an answer. But then I had to fly back to Toronto. And so it was a 5 hour flight. And I sat there sort of ruminating, like, what am I doing in cybersecurity? Am I in the right place? Is there a place for me? And I got off the flight at Pearson Airport and I had to go talk to someone, another client actually. And I told him what had happened. And his response to me was absolutely fantastic. He said that when you're talking about security, you really need a diverse population that with a diverse point of view that can come to the security conversation and think up really innovative ideas on how we're going to deal with this stuff. So what I had been made to feel poorly about being a female in this business was actually probably one of my greatest strengths. And it was an incident that I was very embarrassed about at the time. But in hindsight, I think it was probably a fantastic thing that I went through, because it really focused me on what my strengths and, my differentiation in the marketplace.
Wow, that's a very challenging story. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I can't believe that someone would actually put you on the spot like that. But it makes me really glad that you were able to kind of reflect and turn it around and actually think, okay, no, yeah, I might be a minority in the space, but actually this could be my strength and this could be my tool for change. So I think that's absolutely amazing. So a huge acknowledgement for that. And finally, if I can, I would just like to ask one more question. How would you address tech and identity industry leaders who haven't yet considered the impact of inclusivity in their product design in relation to their success?
I think it's a great question. Cybersecurity, identity, digital identity, these are amongst the most complex business problems we have in the world right now. And notably, I said business problems, not technical problems, because it's far beyond a technical issue. Every single day, we're seeing information in the news on data breaches and cyber incidents and all sorts of stuff. And so it is absolutely a compelling issue for boards, for business leaders. And it goes back to what I said previously. If we're really going to fight this thing, if we're really going to address cybersecurity issues in the marketplace, we need a diversity of population that are going to come to this business problem and work to resolve it. And at its most foundational level, it's just good business. That's what I'm saying.
It's the wider picture, and I think that's can be a challenge sometimes. I've been at Women in Identity for months now, and so one thing that I think I have noticed is that a lot of people feel like digital identity doesn't apply to them in their role, but it's definitely a wider picture.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I really appreciate your words and that outlook on things. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. This is actually the first interview I have conducted with Women in Identity, and it's been an absolute pleasure to do it with someone who's just so collaborative and so easy to work with. So thank you so much.
Thank you. This is wonderful.